day to you. Welcome to the Hub Internet Show. I am Joel Aaron, your host, joined today by our panel, Barry, Stephanie, Rupert, and Leake. And Stephanie and Leake are in the Face-Off Debate. You can catch it from last Wednesday. Go on, listen to the segment, Face-Off Debate. Now, Tiger Woods, actually. And vote in the comments section of the YouTube video on who you think won the Face-Off Debate. Wednesday, we'll announce the winner, kick one off, keep one on, and introduce a new panelist. And one of these two will be on the hot seat to defend their seat. And so that's the way the game is played. All right. It's no surprise to anybody that we experienced an enormous mortgage bubble that burst back in 2000, late 2008, early 2009, and really 2008, and caused the financial collapse in what we're experiencing now. I'm one who actually believes that we're living in an illusion because we've got a second mortgage bubble, residential, on its way, and down the road, the commercial bubble, which never happened in round one, but in round two, fight, it's on. This is nowhere expressed more clearly than Nicolas Cage last week. When his home was foreclosed upon, his $65 million home, this man couldn't sell his house. It was foreclosed on. They put it on the auction. They started the bids at $17.5 million. Everyone balked. The bank resumed ownership of the property, which they had all along. And I think that has to do with two things. The place looked more like a Hobby Lobby than a house because, quite frankly, the man likes model trains everywhere. Around the room, in his bedroom, around the living room, and he just likes model trains. Apparently no other multi-millionaires in the world worth their salt like model trains, and quite a few celebrities. So he couldn't sell his house, and this is the thing that's crazy about me. Crazy to me, there are a lot of things crazy about me. Alan Greenspan, the former Fed head Alan Greenspan, was in front of a Senate Finance Committee last week, and he was talking a little bit about, he was being blasted over his handling of the financial meltdown, or basically how he propped up the markets to create the financial meltdown. And he rallied to his own defense, saying it was folks like Chris Dodd in the Senate Finance, and Barney Frank in the House Banking Committee, and all these different committees that had been gerrymandering this for years and insisting, as we all know from the history, that Freddie and Fannie provide these loans, set them up to fail, set this bubble up in place. And he said that had he done anything about this at the time, nothing would have happened anyway, because Congress would have overturned it. Now, do you think that is a lame excuse, like I believe it's a lame excuse, yes, or does he have a point there, Barry?
It's a pretty lame excuse. I think Greenspan was really good right up to around 99, 2000, and then I don't know whether Alzheimer's kicked in or what, but it was kind of like he was raising the interest rates. That caused the economy to go down and have a problem then. And then with the housing market and the housing crisis, this is crazy. And if you can't stand up and say, I'm going to do something about this, or you're going to go and convince the government somehow to do something about it, you're not doing your job. So whether you're saying that you didn't do it or you didn't know about it, doesn't matter. Either way, you're not doing your job.
Stephanie?
Well, I agree with that. I'm not disagreeing with that. My question in reading this and watching the City Court people, which made me laugh because that was funny, but at what point is there personal accountability? I'll be honest, I had a subprime loan because I was stupid and didn't know any better. But I sold my house and moved to Georgia, and thankfully that was before the bubble, so I didn't get in trouble. But let me say, do not put me up, but let me say at some point I was accountable. I didn't go after anybody and say, woe is me. You signed the papers. If you didn't do the research, I didn't listen. My mom said, oh, do this. I didn't listen. At a point, you're accountable for your actions. And yeah, Greenspan may have something to do with it, Carter, Dodd, everyone else, but at what point are you accountable?
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, Alan Greenspan said that there's a case of chronic amnesia going on in Congress, which is, news to us. I believe every 2 to 4 years, they just pass out Xanax to everybody as they leave the room for recess. And then they forget everything that ever happened.
It was Ambien and Brandy.
It may have been Ambien, but she'd get on to me if I said Lipitor, so we're not going to say that. But that's the thing. I mean, I thought losing my car keys were bad. These guys lose their memory. You know, about every 2 to 4 years in policy and repeat the same problems again. Rupert, you're running for Congress at parchmentforcongress.com, and You're here to clean up the mess, right? This is Mr. Smith.
We are going to clean up the mess, but the problem with what's happening here is it seems to be an age-old problem. First, Adam blamed Eve, then we've got Greenspan blaming the Congress. We have this administration who loves to blame George Bush. It's
and
like
men blame the pill.
Right. I mean, it's like blaming every time instead of taking personal responsibility for what happened, you put the finger on someone else. And again, yes, I mean, I agree with him to some extent that there's a lot of amnesia. Congress was partially complicit in this. They forced it, but he should have, if he had at least said, you know what, no, I don't agree with this, and then they overrode him, then I could agree with him more. But too much of the blame game. It's time for responsibility, accountability, and taking charge, and that's what I plan on doing in Congress against David Scott.
There we go, and now you have the platform.
There you go.
Leake, back to you.
At the end of the day, I do think he had a fundamental responsibility to say something because, the Fed banks monitor every aspect of the economy. They put together quarterly data on all the goods and services being sold and bought in the economy. The market for mortgages and loanable funds is just another market that they collect data on. And sure, yeah, Congress would be at their leisure to absolutely ignore what he said, but if he thought it was an impending crisis, he would be forcing the issue by going on CNN, going on Fox and saying, look, this is bad, it's getting worse, it's unsustainable, and it's going to create a crisis. Ignore it at your peril, both politically and economically. In other words, I'm the Oracle of Delphi on all matters economic. I have all these regional Fed banks that maintain data, that study the economy. We are the guys who produce GDP data. We are the nation's source for economic data. We monitor these markets. If you want to ignore it, Henry Waxman, Barney Frank, Christopher Dodd, you can. But I'm raising the issue. Yeah. I'm telling you it's coming at us like a freight train, and the current situation is of increasing home ownership and everyone gets a mortgage is politically expedient, but it's not sustainable.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, yeah, when you keep the Fed rates at 1 to 2 to 3% in 2003, 2004, and you're creating this predatory lending policy like this, you have what you get. And to say, I'm with you, Stephanie, to say that you're not responsible for this because Congress would have not backed you up. Oh, no. That's like me saying that the girlfriend has gained 150 pounds since date one, and I feel like I'm trapped in it. So I've lost interest. I've lost interest, but I'm not going to say anything because she'll just beat me over the head with Twinkies. So we're just going to all say there's more to love.
This is
that ignores the problem. Stephanie
is.
Wow.
Joel.
No. I have no problems with that statement, quite frankly. I think both sexes should take care of themselves if they're in a relationship. But
vote for her.
Vote for me. But no, going back to what Rupert said, there's personal accountability, and it's the blame game. You know what? If you want to run a successful company, you do not get successful by blaming everyone. And that's what's wrong with our government, and we're so busy blaming, and we're stopped running it like a business.
But if I go to Greenspan and this issue about communication, he would say something and you don't know what he's saying and all this stuff. And look at the difference between him and Bernanke. Bernanke was like, okay, $700 billion, or we've got Great Depression too. Yeah. And so it's like, there's a little bit of a difference in communication style, one that worked, one that didn't.
Yeah, but I agree. By the end of this all, we'll be trading houses on Craigslist if we could. See you tomorrow on The Hub.